Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with a very requested tutorial review. I am going to review the new Winsor Newton pigment markers today. I only have a small set because these puppies are pricey, and that was really all that I could justify spending. So a kit like this with 5 colors and 1 white blender retails for 40 bucks. They had them at AC Moore, so I used a 50% off coupon and my teacher's discount, which got it down to $18. So I thought for 18 bucks I could try these out. So they are a different type of marker. Their biggest claim to fame is that they're light fast plus 100 years, which most markers like your Copics, your Pro markers, your oh gosh, Prismacolors, those are all fugitive. They're all going to fade because they're dye based. So these are pigment based, so they're going to resist fading a lot longer. So you kind of have to weigh the you kind of have to decide whether 8 bucks a pop for a marker is worth, and that's what they retail for individually, is worth having that extra light fastness. Now Copics are also 8 bucks a pop nearly. So, you know, if you're trying to pick between the two, you know, they're on par in price wise anyway. So the first important thing you need to know is that you have to have a special paper for this, and that can be a deal breaker. So this is Winsor Newton marker paper. I didn't go out and buy special paper. I already had the Pro marker paper by Winsor Newton because I figured I'm going to try what I have before I go drop another 10 bucks on more paper, or more, who knows. I didn't even look at the price of the paper. So I have this, which is the same maker as the pigment markers, but this paper is designed for the Pro marker, but I thought I'd try it. You know, it might be the same thing. I also tried Strathmore marker paper, smooth surface, and I did not have very good luck with this paper, and I was very disappointed because this was the first one I tried, because quite frankly it was the first pad of paper I found in my fairly messy studio this morning. Now, one thing I found, a couple things about this. This is kind of a vellum surface. It did, well, you got a little bit of bleed through. I have a little bit of red on here from where I colored that cherry, and it did warp the paper underneath because of the moisture in the markers, but they did not blend. If you look here, I mean, I layered some colors there, and granted I only have 5 colors plus the white, so I mean, I was layering to kind of get my shading, and it's all right, but the surface of the paper feels rough where the marker is, and it wasn't a pleasant experience to color. And here I tried to do some color blending with the colors, and there's a little swatch of what they look like. They didn't blend well on this paper, so I was really kind of bummed, but I thought before I throw in the towel, I'm going to try the Winsor Newton marker paper, and I came up with some very delightful surprises here with this. I like this paper. Again, it's very thin. It feels very similar, except it does seem to have a little bit more sizing in it. I did find the colors. Actually, that might have bled through from my, I put a scrap piece of paper in between in the pad just so I didn't ruin the piece underneath, but I found it blended really well with the Winsor Newton marker paper. So I'm just going to grab these out here and just kind of give you a little demo. And then I found something really exciting. Okay, I'm so excited. Don't let me forget the exciting thing. Okay, you'll have to, I won't forget, I don't think I'll forget, but don't let me forget. Okay, so these are on this paper. They're really juicy. Okay, you can see how glossy that is. When I tried it on the other marker paper, or even on this Nina, which I usually like to use for markers, it dries and absorbs and dries almost instantly. And if I go in with another color, say I want to blend it with some yellow, if I go in next to it on the Nina, even though I just colored that, it's not moving a bit. If I do it here, look, it's still juicy, and I can still blend it and move it and get a new color. So that's exciting. So I felt like this pigment was staying on the top of the paper, and it was slipping around, and I was able to get some really good blends. Now, some place where you're going to waste some marker here is every time you blend, if you don't blend it right out straight to like its color again, you're going to have to scribble it on clean paper to clean it. So that's going to waste some marker. You have to do that a lot with the white. And I'll show you that in just a second here. Let's do a little green. It's easier to blend with a lighter color, I found. Do a little bit of, and you get a bullet tip, which is really nice. And then you also get the chisel tip, obviously, which I just showed you. Like if I put that blue in there, it'd be easy to blend out with the green because the green is lighter. And I could keep working into the other colors here. I can make a brown if I go in with that pink. So the advantage of having the marker paper is that you can keep layering and blending. And it's really thin, so if you're going to use it for card making, you might want to maybe use some spray adhesive and put it on a piece of cardstock first so that you can work with cardstock weight materials. But then again, that's more aggravation, that's more money. You have to decide for yourself whether that's something you really want to do. And let's see, I didn't swatch out that color. I'll swatch out that one right next to it. This is kind of more like a cadmium red. It's probably, oh, it's scarlet. And you could see, look, at like erases. Oh, it's almost like a dry, it almost felt like when I first got these out and I was playing them in my hotel room, because I picked these up during the stamp show, I kind of was like, wow, these feel like dry erase markers, because I'd like erase, I'd sketch on like a little piece of, so you can make some mud there. I would sketch on some plastic packaging, and then I would let it dry and wipe it off. I'm like, wow, these are like dry erase markers. Maybe they're dry erase markers. But they have a little scent, not as strong as an alcohol marker, but somebody told me they're ethanol, because I could not find the information anywhere on what the base of this marker was, which really irks me when a company will not be transparent on their website. They could say these are ethanol based. They could say these are alcohol based. They could tell you that information, but I feel like they're being so proprietary with this product that ticks me off. So it's like I have to figure out what it is because I don't like them keeping secrets. I want to know what chemicals are in my products. And I expect to know that when I'm buying artist grade materials. And maybe it's somewhere and I just am too clueless or thick to figure out where it is, but I never could. So the white blender is very unique. So I can like pull out that color with the white. Isn't that cool? I could pull this out and get a nice pastel green. I could add well, better scribble it off. And see, what I'm doing here off camera is I'm scribbling it off. So I'm wasting a lot of ink there. That's bothering me. So I don't know how long this is going to wear before this wears out if I use it regularly. I can add highlights, and it's going to mix in with what's underneath, so it's not going to give me like a super, super white highlight, but it's still kind of cool. And I can just drag the colors around, really play with them. So, you know, that's a lot of fun, right? Totally awesome. But guess what? If you just went out and bought the white marker, this is like $8, right? Use your 50% off coupon, get it for $4. This will work with all of your pro markers, all of your Copic markers, all of your Prismacolor markers. This will work with all the other ones to give them the look of this. Now, the downside is, no, they're not going to be as light fast as if you use the Winsor Newton pigment markers. These are the only ones that are light fast, and that's a, you know, and they're expensive. But if you just want the fun playing and the look of it, well, check this out. So I played with a Copic there. I played with a pro marker there. It worked great, and I'll demo it over here too, just so you can see. So let's say this is a that's a Copic marker. I'll do a little pro marker here. Let me grab a Prismacolor because I want to show you. Let's grab a cheapie. This is a cheapie art marker. That's how you know it's quality. It says art right in the title. Look at this little art marker here. Look, I can blend those two together if I wanted to. Let's blend them right together with each other because this is fun paper. I do like the paper. You get 50 sheets, I think, for $12. So it's not super duper cheap, but you know, I think it could probably go pretty long. And let's see, let's do a little, oh, Prismacolor. Didn't grab a Prismacolor. I need to find a nice dark Prismacolor. That's a pro marker. I have such a menagerie of markers going on here. It's kind of crazy. Why can't I find a Prismacolor marker? This is, here we go. This is a little disturbing. Let's do a little, ooh, that's a pretty color. I should use that more often. See what happens, because yes, remember how I said the markers fade? Check this out. Okay, so I punched out little stickers, out of like clear label paper, and I colored them and I stuck them on the ends of my markers. And look what happens over a couple of years of my like really bright studio lights. They fade. So theoretically, the Winsor Newton ones won't. You've got 100 years. You know, 100 years, I don't know what kind of conditions, if it's like in Lindsay's crazy bright craft room or like closed in a book or if it's hanging on the wall or what. But okay, so I got my my marker here, my white marker, and I let that dry, right? And red's a pretty staining color, but look, I still can go in there, reactivate that ink with this white marker and blend it out. So that's pretty cool. So just by getting the white marker, you can have more versatility with all of your other alcohol markers. These are not refillable. You know, so that's a consideration. And of course, you're going to blend a little bit better if you do it right while it's wet. But I mean, on this marker paper, it's almost like, it's not a plastic, but it almost feels like that because you can, the ink stays on the surface and it does conserve your marker use. So look how pretty those colors are. Look at the textures we could get on our stamp art if we wanted to use this paper. But again, I'm going to keep showing you my dirty paper here because maybe I could make a card background with that. What do you think? That's kind of pretty. So, so that was a really fantastic thing I wanted to show you, is that we can take the white marker here and use it to blend all of our Copics and Prismacolor and other menagerie of markers that we have. So I just think that's a really fun technique. I would say, yay, go forth and buy the white marker with my full blessing. But I would think twice before buying the colored ones, just unless, of course, you are just a marker artist and you love using markers and that's all you want to use and you want your markers to stand the test of time, then these are absolutely worth it for you. If you just want some fun new effects using the supplies you already have for like cards and scrapbooks that aren't going to be hanging up in direct sunlight, remember your scrapbooks are going to be closed, I would stick with your regular markers that you've already purchased, that you already have, because these will work better on cardstock. These do not blend on cardstock. And then maybe get a white to augment that if you want to do some opaque effects, because with these markers you need the marker paper. It's just not going to work very well unless you're using a coated paper that's going to let the marker stay wet on top. So it's just something you really have to consider. These markers have dye in them. They're going to be more fluid and they're going to move around a lot more. Think of like fabric dyes, how they flow and they're fluid, versus pigmented paints, which are heavier and they're not going to flow as much. So just the properties, you have to give some to get some. And if the light fast issue is important for you, then absolutely buy these instead of Copics or instead of Prismacolors or Pro Markers or whatever. Now, the other thing I want to tell you is that I absolutely love the Winsor Newton watercolor markers. They're also light fast and pigmented, and I totally think they're worth the money. But you can use them in all the watercolor paper you already have or all the cardstock you already have. These are just really specific, and I want you to know, if you're going to go invest the money in these, because they're not cheap, that you know what you're getting into. You're going to have to buy the paper if you want them to work properly. And really, I see the only benefit of getting these colors versus using the alcohol markers you probably already have, or Sharpies or whatever, is the fact that they're light fast. And your other markers are not going to be light fast. Your Copics are not light fast. Your Pro Markers are not light fast. Your Prismacolor markers are not light fast. They're gorgeous. They're artist quality. They're permanent, as in they're not going to run if you get water on them. They're indelible, more is probably a better word, but they are not light fast. They're not permanent in the light fast terms. So know your products, know what you're paying for, and decide if the properties are worth it. For me, I'm going to say no. For me, I'll enjoy playing with these, but the only one I'm probably going to replace would be the white one, just because you can do some really super cool stuff with this paper, the white marker, and all the markers I already have, because that white marker makes my other markers more useful. These other colors, they're pretty, but I'm not going to buy enough that I could actually do a light fast piece of artwork, you know. And they're markers, they're consumable, they're more consumable than paint and other mediums. So that's also something to consider, that when this runs out, you're spending another $8. Or, you know, I'm sure you'll be able to find them cheaper online at like Jerry's Artorama or your favorite, or in a big box store with a coupon, but for me, even if they're $4 a pop, I still think they're expensive for what they are. But the light fast thing, that is, if you are really concerned with light fast, then absolutely go buy them. Otherwise, give it a think on it a bit before you go and invest in those. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I was not compensated to review these products. I just was very curious about them myself. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.